Your thoughts are not just quiet whispers that float around in your head. They are the architects of your reality. Every belief you hold, every decision you make, every reaction you have, it all begins with a thought. Before anything becomes action, before it becomes habit, before it becomes part of your story, it lives in the mind. Do what you say. And what lives in the mind begins to show itself in the world you create around you. Do what you say. Let's say you wake up in the morning and the first thought you have is, today's going to suck. That's not just a mood. That's a script. You've already written the first line of your day before your feet hit the ground. So you move through the next hour in a state of expectation. Not for joy, not for opportunity, but for confirmation. You're looking for the bad. And guess what? You'll find it. Do what you say. Because when you tell your mind what to see, it gets real good at showing it to you. Now flip it. Imagine waking up and thinking, today something good is coming. Same person, same weather, same schedule. But the lens has changed. You're not avoiding discomfort. You're just looking at it from a place of power. Do what you say. That single thought shifts how you read situations, how you engage with people, how you show up for yourself. It doesn't magically make the world make perfect. It makes you present. Thoughts become filters. And filters shape us. What you focus on expands. You ever notice when someone buys a new car? Do what you say. Suddenly they start seeing that same model everywhere. That car was always out there. But now their brain has been tuned to notice it. That's how it works with your thoughts. 2, do what you say. Think you're not good enough. You'll see signs of that truth in every room you walk into. But it's not truth. It's selection. You're selecting the signals that match the story you've told yourself. The real kicker, do what you say. Most of us aren't even aware we're doing this. We run on loops. Thought patterns we picked up from our parents, our past, our pain. And we call that loop reality. But it's not reality. It's a reflection of thought projected onto experience. You can have 2 people go through the exact same day and come away with 2 completely different stories about it. Why? Thought? One sees a challenge as a reason to quit. The other sees it as a reason to grow. The event didn't change. The perspective did. Your thoughts are not just background noise. They are instructions. They tell your body how to feel. They tell your face how to react. They tell your future how to unfold. And the longer you keep them unchecked, the deeper they dig in. Do what you say. That's why awareness is the starting point. You can't change what you don't notice. Do what you say. But the moment you catch yourself repeating a thought that doesn't serve you, that's the moment you have a choice. You get to question it. You get to rewrite it. And eventually, you start telling a different story before any journey begins. Before any plan is drawn. Before any action is taken, there's something invisible that sets the direction. Mindset. It's the unseen starting line in every race. The quiet engine beneath every success. And the silent anchor beneath every failure. People often think they need more resources, more connections, more time, more money. But what they really need first, before any of that, is the right state of mind. Mindset is the foundation. If it's cracked, it doesn't matter how big you try to build. Do what you say. You've probably seen people with all the tools in the world. Talent, support, opportunity. But they stall out. They self-sabotage. They second-guess. Why? Because their mindset isn't aligned with their goals. They're standing at the starting line with their feet ready to run, but their thoughts holding the brakes. That's what mindset does. It either clears the path or it becomes the first obstacle you trip over. On the flip side, you'll meet people who've got nothing going for them on paper. No fancy resume, no investors, no smooth head start, and they find a way to win. Not because they had an edge, but because they believed they could carve one out. That belief that I belong here, I can figure this out. I will not stop until I do. That's mindset in motion. It's the difference between trying and committing, between hoping and knowing. People like to say, I'll be confident when I've succeeded. But it's usually the other way around. You succeed when you decide internally that you're going to. That's not arrogance. It's clarity. It's knowing that the world doesn't hand you permission. You claim it. Do what you say. And you claim it with the way you think, the way you talk to yourself, and the way you show up when nobody's watching. Mindset isn't just optimism either. Do what you say. It's not about sugarcoating reality or pretending everything's fine. Do what you say. It's about choosing how you respond to what's real. It's the difference between seeing a failure as a wall or as a doorway. It's what keeps you grounded when things go right and keeps you standing when they go wrong. Your mindset decides if a delay is a dead end or just a detour. And here's the truth. Every path, every process, every pursuit will test your mindset more than your skill. There will be days when things won't go your way. People will doubt you. You'll doubt yourself. That's when mindset shows up. Not as a loud cheerleader, but as a steady hand on your shoulder saying, keep going. That voice isn't gifted to you. You build it. Do what you say. You build it every time you choose grow over fear, effort over excuses, progress over perfection. What you say. Mindset is not what you have once you arrive. It's what you need just to begin. It determines whether you walk into a challenge thinking, why me? Or, watch me. It shapes your energy, your resilience, your willingness to learn. It draws the line between people who wait and people who work. There's a conversation happening in your head all day. Every day. Most of it you don't even realize is playing. It's automatic, like background noise. But that voice, that's your internal dialogue. And it's not just commentary. It's command. It tells you what's possible, what's off limits, what you're worth, what you should fear. And more than anything else, it shapes how you experience the world and yourself inside it. Here's the hard truth. Most people are walking around repeating scripts they never wrote. They inherited them. Do what you say. From a parent who said, you'll never amount to much. From a teacher who questioned their ability. From a moment in childhood where they felt small and stayed small. That voice say, that view here telling you're not smart enough, not attractive enough, not capable enough, it probably isn't even yours. But you believed it. And then you started repeating it. Quietly, subtly, day after day. That repetition became identity. But here's the shift: just because you've been saying something to yourself for years doesn't make it true. Do what you say. And more importantly, it doesn't mean you have to keep saying it. The moment you realize that your inner voice is in effect, it's a story, you unlock the power to rewrite it. Think about how you speak to yourself when you fail. Do you say, I always screw things up, or that didn't work, but I'll figure it out? That small difference. That's everything. Because your internal dialogue is either reinforcing limitation or inviting growth. It's either boxing you in or pushing you forward. And the mind listens. The more you tell yourself you're broken, behind, or unworthy, the more your brain looks for evidence to back it up. But flip the script. And it will look for that too. Rewriting your internal dialogue doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means it being intentional. It means refusing to let the loudest voice in your life be the one tearing you down. It means noticing when you're in a spiral of self-doubt and choosing a different sentence. Not, I'm failing, but I'm learning. Not, I'm lost, but I'm exploring. Not, I'll never, but what if I could? The words you say to yourself in private matter more than the praise you get in public. Because they're constant, they're close, they are the script running the whole show. And when you decide to rewrite them, even if it feels awkward at first, you're not faking anything. You're simply reclaiming authorship of your mind. It takes practice. You'll slip. You'll catch yourself mid-thought, mid-judgment, mid-criticism. But that's the point. Awareness gives you the steering wheel. It lets you hit pause on autopilot. And once you do that, you can question the voice. You can challenge it. You can upgrade it from a critic to a coach. Your internal dialogue is the most consistent relationship you'll ever have. You can either let it become an echo of your past or a tool for your future. Everything begins with a thought. Every choice, every habit, every move you make, it all starts in the mind. A single thought can be the spark that lights the fire, or the hesitation that keeps you cold. Most people think change starts with action, but action doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from a decision. And decisions are born from thought. That's why what you think doesn't just influence your life, it directs it. Picture this. You're standing at a crossroads in your life. Two paths. One looks familiar, safe. The other looks uncertain, maybe a little intimidating. The difference between which one you take, it's not your skills. It's not your resources. It's the thought you believe in that moment. If you tell yourself, I'll fail if I try, then chances are you won't move. You'll freeze. You'll pick safety. But if the thought becomes, even if I stumble, I'll learn, now you've given yourself permission. Act. And that action, that's what creates momentum. Thoughts lead to emotions. Emotions lead to behaviors. Behaviors shape habits. And habits build outcomes. It's a chain reaction. One negative thought can start a spiral. You think you're not ready, so you don't try. Because you don't try. You don't learn. Because you don't learn. You don't grow. And now that first thought has built a reality around you that looks like proof. But it wasn't proof. It was prophecy. A self-fulfilling loop. On the flip side, one empowering thought can launch a ripple effect. You think, why not me? So you take a small risk. That action builds confidence. That confidence leads to the next move. And before you know it, you're standing in a life you once thought was out of reach. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. Internally, mentally, intentionally. The power is in recognizing the space between thought and action. That space is choice. That's where you get to pause and decide if a thought is helping you or holding you. Most people don't even see that space. They move on autopilot, reacting instead of responding. But when you start catching your thoughts and asking, what will this thought lead me to do? You take back control of your outcomes. Not all thoughts need to be perfect. You don't need to think positively all the time, but you do need to think constructively. A helpful thought isn't always the prettiest one. It's the one that leads to movement. Sometimes it sounds like, I'm scared, but I'll do it anyway. That's not blind optimism. That's courage. And courage is a thought you act on. Because once you act, the world responds. Opportunities don't always show up first. Sometimes they appear after you take the first step. You can sit and think all day, but if the thoughts never turn into action, they stay in your head. The moment you move, even if it's messy, you shift something real, you create evidence, you create direction, and little by little, you create a different reality around you. Change doesn't start out there. It starts in here, in the space between your ears. Your thoughts set the tone. Your mindset sets the pace. Your inner voice shapes your belief, and your actions bring it all to life. When you shift the way you think, you shift what becomes possible. You're not stuck because of your circumstances. You're stuck because of the story you keep telling yourself. Change that story, and everything around you starts to move. So if you want to change your life, stop waiting for permission. Change your thought. And you just might change everything.